Ayo, what it do, YouTube? It's your boy Alvin MB10, aka AMR10, and what I got for you today is some NBA 2K23 Next Gen. Now, the build that I happen to have for you today happens to be none other than a playoff Jimmy, aka Jimmy Buckets build, because, ladies and gentlemen, this happens to be a lockdown small forward build that has the ability to score as well as just generally being a damn threat. Now, before we get into this build, I do gotta say, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to do me a favor, go ahead and hit that like button. If you're new to the channel and you ain't done so yet, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as turning post notifications on. And lastly but not least, do go down below in the comments and drop a comment telling me what other builds you want to see, as well as any other critics or benefits you see to this build. Now, starting off, Jimmy Butler, small forward, right-handed, jersey number 22 for the Miami Heat. Technically speaking, he was drafted as a shooting guard, but he does play the small forward position. Height-wise, he does come in at 6'7", whilst apparently weighing 230 pounds, which makes me feel kind of heavy because I think I weigh about 215. And then he has a wingspan that's recorded at about 6'8", and obviously body shape-wise, you can leave it as defined because this does nothing really and truly to the build and how it plays. Now, getting straight into the attributes of the build, we decided to go with an 83 when it came to the close shot to start off with, because this does allow us the capabilities of getting gold masher, as well as you can see it does give us an extra badge point for going from an 82 to an 83, and an 82 is what you need for gold masher. Driving layup wise, went with an 80 because you always got to try and get that Hall of Fame Giant Slayer, which of course we could have got just based off of the fact that we did get 83 on the close shot, but this also does mean that we get the capabilities of getting silver fearless finisher, acrobat, as well as slithery finisher. Now, on the driving dunk side of things, you always got to go with an 86 just because this does allow you the capabilities of getting pro contacts as well as gold limitless takeoff. Personally speaking, I rarely use contact dunks, but that's because my playstyle is usually just a whole lot of cutting by people and dunking it at open rims, or just getting myself some space to knock down a 3-ball. Now, because we did decide to make this a Jimmy Butler build, we also had to pair up some strength with it. We decided to go with an 82 when it came to the strength because this does also mean that we get the capability of getting silver bully. Now, I will show you guys towards the end of a video a bunch of snapshots of how I would personally run the badges, but the key thing to remember in those snapshots is when testing the build out, you don't get the ability to have the +4 you'd get from playing the My Career games, as well as the extra badge points you would have got from playing through the seasons and having qualified through. But as you can see on the base side of things, we do finish with 16 total finishing badges. Key thing here being silver bully, gold limitless take, gold masher in my opinion, which will come through clutch, especially if you want to play like Jimmy, amongst a tier of other badges. Shooting wise, Jimmy Butler is not known as one of the greatest shooters, but one thing that he does have is he does have a mid-range jump shot. So we decided to give him an 86 when it came to the mid-range jump shot because it allows us to get Hall of Fame at 3 key badges that I'd like to run on this build, which are Guard Up, Midi Magician, and Space Creator, as well as allowing us the capabilities of getting gold blinders. Me personally speaking, Space Creator and Guard Up will be hella clutch when running this build. On the 3-ball side of things, we did show him a little bit of respect by giving him a 70 on the 3-ball, even though technically speaking, he barely shoots a 3-ball a game. But this does also mean that you have the capabilities of getting Bronze Agent 3s, as well as it gives you that extra badge point to get you up to 19. Now, again, I wouldn't necessarily say this is the best spot-up small forward build, but with a 73 ball and a half-decent jump shot, you will be able to make quite a few of them. Now, on the free throw side of things, we always got to put some respect on it, so we did go with a 79 because some of you will be taking this build. I say some of you. Majority of you that do make this build will be taking it into the rec and the pro-am, in which case you will want this thing to have free throw so that you don't just get hacked all the time. Now, again, with 19 shooting badges, I will be showing you later how I'd run them, but this will be a great layout. Now, playmaking side of things, you always got to go with, at the very minimum, an 80 on the playmaking on the ball handle because it allows you to get majority of dribble packages. But I also like to go with an 83 just because it allows you to get that gold hyperdrive, which personally speaking, I run a lot of fast breaks and that badge comes through at a clutch for me. And then when it comes to pass accuracy, I always love to give builds about a 76 because firstly, it allows us the capabilities of getting that bronze bailout, which we get at a lower tier, and then it also gives us that extra badge point and gold break starter, which I technically never use unless you're a big man who grabs a lot of boards. Now, on the speed with balls side of things, you always got to go. I say you always got to go. I personally always go with the 79 because it always ensures that we get that extra badge point, which gets us up to 20 total playmaking badge points. And the good thing here again is we do get vice grip at gold, silver quick first step. I personally like killer combos in this situation just because it makes it feel like you're dribbling a little bit better than usual. And then of course you can slap on Unpluckable if you want to, amongst other badges. Now, on the defensive side of things, we always got to make this build stand out because this is a lockdown small forward build. So we went with an 87 when it came to the perimeter defense. I know at an 86 is what you need to get gold challenger as well as silver clamps, but at an 87 you get that extra badge point as well as Hall of Fame menace. And then of course on the steal side of things, you got to go with an 85 because that's the bare minimum to get silver interceptor as well as silver glove, which in my personal opinion is a fun badge to run. And then on the block side of things, I always go with a 75 to get gold chase down artist, but I'm not gonna lie to you, I never actually see myself in situations where I run chase down artist. I see myself in a lot more situations where I'm faced up with people getting blocks, but either way, having a high block rating is always comes through clutch when you're playing the game. Now, rebounding wise, we did decide to go with something spectacular in the fact that we went with an 82 when it came to the defensive rebound, because that gives us an extra badge point, as you can see, as well as that gold box out beast. And then of course on the offensive rebound side of things, we went with an 80, which is quite high, but again, this does allow us an extra badge point, because my key thinking here was I wanted to get as many of these defensive badge points as I possibly could, and this was the one way to do it. Now, I do think in the snapshot that I made of the badges and how to lay them out, I forgot to include running bronze anchor, but the truth of it is, if you're running with the bigs, more often than not, he'll be running anchor for you, in which case, just let him have it, because yeah, you're not meant to be the rim protector like that. Now, physically, the build is nice because it does come with an 80 on the speed, maxed out excel at a 77. As we discussed before, the 82 strength to ensure that you get that silver bully. Vertical wise, we got to go with a 70 because you always want to get those pro contact dunks. And then when it comes to the stamina, we maxed it out at a 90 because, yeah, you'll be using this build quite a bit. Now, as you can see, we do finish with 25 defensive, 20 playmaking, 19 shooting, and 16 finishing badge points, meaning we get a grand total of 35. 80 total badge points on this build, but again, as we mentioned before, the plus 4 you get from playing my career, as well as the other pluses you get from having finished previous seasons, should total you up to about 88 total badge points on this here Jimmy Butler build. Now, takeover wise, the very first one I'd personally go with is Jimmy does have the ability of getting either 3 of these, but I'd most likely go with easy blow-bys because, as mostly you know, it does help with increasing a player's physicals when it comes to things like speed. And then on the secondary one, I'd possibly go with something along the lines of negative impact, because as it says, reduces the impact of shot contests against pull-ups, step backs, and spin shots, which if you're playing like Jimmy Butler, those are the majority of the shots you'll be taking when it comes to jump shots. Now, the players we do get in the shades of for this build happen to be none other than Gerald Wallace, Jimmy Butler, and Jason Tatum. Ironically, I've watched all 3 play. Gerald Wallace, I watched him like a couple years into his career. Jimmy, been watching him through, same thing for JT. Now, the name of the build is a 2-way inside the arc scorer, but as we know with the 73 ball, you are an inside the arc scorer, but you have the ability to knock down the 3 ball if you really want to. Now, as I said before, I am going to show you some still images of how I would personally run the badges. Do me a favor, go ahead down below in the comments and tell me whether you agree with it or whether you switch it up slightly. And obviously, if you enjoyed today's video and you want to see more content like this, do me a favor, go and drop a like on the video. We are trying to get at least 50 likes on this thing. And don't forget, if you're new to the channel and you ain't done so yet, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as turning post notifications on. Now, I will be saying deuces, but the images will be coming up. So I'll catch you in a bit. Deuces.